Hello, I am the Irish guy, and Jesse Lingard makes me sad. For months, the question has been asked, which club is ex-Manchester United star Jay Ling's going to sign for? And now we have our answer. He's just landed in South Korea, getting ready to sign for FC Seoul, where he's being mobbed by a flock of supporters at the airport, and strangely handed a flute. What, do they think he's the Pied Piper of Wigan? FC Seoul! I suppose it's actually kind of fitting what country he is going to, because this move has killed his career. Again, the choice of club is probably perfect, because by agreeing to go there just for the publicity and the cash, he's ironically sold his soul. FC Seoul. FC Seoul. A month ago, he was offering himself to Barcelona, which probably went about as well as me offering my services to Jennifer Lopez. She'd probably just get me to the dog poo off her slippers. This frustrates me because this is a man who literally had the world at his feet only 3 years ago. Make no mistake about it. In a world of marketing and branding in sport, this is an extremely relevant footballer. I hate using that word as sound like Bryce Gump, but I'm sorry. For his respective ability, his name actually holds star power. He's got nearly 10 million followers on Instagram. He's doing something right. I mean, considering I think he's a far worse footballer than Alan Saint-Maximin, and yet he's nearly 10 times the social media following, I think that is really good. I mean, Raheem Sterling is an absolute monster superstar who's had 5 times a better career than Lingard, and yet he only just about squeaks above him in Instagram followers. He's got 3 times more Twitter followers than Alan Shearer, one of England's best ever players who's idolized in Newcastle and has since become one of the faces of Match of the Day. Lingard is popular. 3 years ago, he had the world at his feet. He moves on loan to West Ham, scores 9 goals in 16 games, proving everybody wrong, to such a point where he's tattooing his logo on Jack Waite's leg. Freeze it there. In May 2021, after finishing 6th in the league with West Ham and nearly making the England Euro 2020 squad, a 28-year-old Jay Lings was hot property. He spent that summer training with Real Sociedad on an island in Mykonos. He was wanting to make it happen at Manchester United. The guy decided to have another crack at Old Trafford. It didn't happen for him, but still, at the end of the season, in the summer of 2022, he had interest from Juventus, PSG, and AC Milan. Newcastle United tried to sign him on loan as one of Eddie Howe's first signings 6 months before. Can you imagine if Lingard had linked up with Howe, arriving in the same window as Kieran Trippier, Bruno Guimaraes, and Chris Wood? When Manchester United rejected that loan offer, Newcastle had won just 1 of their 22 league games. I don't think Jesse was that fussed. But I mean, after that crushing loan rejection, Newcastle went on to finish that season with 12 wins from 18 games. Can you imagine if Lingard had been part of that winning machine? He should have pushed for that move. Instead, he just mostly rotted on the bench of the Manchester United and wasn't even allowed a proper goodbye on the pitch. I honestly don't understand with that level of blockbuster interest how his agent was not able to swing a better move than Nottingham Forest. That was the king of laziness. Going abroad was the move to make. It's not like he's being offered lowly gigs at Granada, Boa Vista, or Joe Public FC. Yes, that's actually a football team in Trinidad. No, he had Juve, PSG, and Milan on the phone. If I was Jesse, a move to AC Milan, the perfect rehabilitation for Prem cast-offs, would have been perfect. Ever since his super agent Mino Raiola passed away in the spring of 2022, Jesse's career has gone off the rails. Say what you want about Raiola, but he clearly knew what he was doing. But Jesse's new team of agents, members of his family who he since had to sack, clearly didn't know what they were doing. Instead, he wrangles a potential £200,000 a week, 1-year contract at Forest. That was one of the most narcissistic, self-interested, mercenary contracts I have ever seen anybody sign. 1 year! A 1-year deal on stupid wages. It showed the commitment levels of some 18-year-old bloke in Magaluf. Yeah, he's not taking you out for that shepherd's pie in Bristol, love. Instead, your phone number is most likely going to get fed to the dog. This was Lingard clearly and openly using newly promoted Forest as a platform to show off again. Clearly, he had European interest from major clubs, but after a season of sitting on the bench for Manchester United, he probably wasn't in the best position to demand monster wages. But surely, he could treat Forest like a loan spell, rip it up for them, and who cares if they go down? It doesn't matter. Just so long as you look good, maybe scoring 10 and assisting 9, you can then go back to PSG and ask for that £220,000 a week deal, right? But no, the master plan backfired. He quickly lost his place in Steve Cooper's team to such a dramatic extent that after Christmas, he played just an hour worth of football. This is a man who was insulted because Ralph Rangnick didn't even bring him on as a substitute for Manchester United towards the end. Whoa, what do you think it did for his confidence that while at Forest, he spent the whole game on the bench 12 times. 12 times where he didn't even need to have a shower. He was given just 2 minutes of football in the final 3 months of the season. And even that was probably only because it was against his old club. And Steve Cooper just wanted to be nice, giving him that moment to say goodbye to the away fans. Right? Lingard has talent, but a 1-year contract at Forest has ruined everything. Because instead of him walking away on a free at the end of the season and finding an upgrade, like at Tottenham, now he put himself in that perilous position where Forest were glad to release their top earner. And he's now left with nothing, right? Again, no. Apparently Lingard this month received offers from 26 clubs. This isn't like Ravel Morrison, where the mainstream football world just forgot about him. No, not at all. 26 clubs. He spent time training in the MLS and with Steven Gerrard at Al Ettifaq. Apparently Lazio offered him a deal. Lazio. To be fair, they once signed Morrison at a similar point in his career, soon after he left Manchester United, so I'm not entirely shocked. Honestly, the similarities were weird. Ravel Morrison had just been let go by Manchester United, and also had a great loan spell at West Ham, and then went to Rome. That's Lingard now! Come on, the chance to play under Maurizio Sarri, the opportunity to live in Rome, play in Italy, he wouldn't even be lonely. He could go bowling with old buddies, Tammy Abraham, Chris Smalling, and Romelu Lukaku. I mean, come on, surely that is the move to make? But where is he going? Oh boy, to show how obscure a league this is, he is only the 7th English player to join the K1 League after the likes of superstar monster names such as Jamie Currington, a lower league journeyman striker who moved clubs 27 times in his life, the man who was so addicted to football that he was still player manager for Enfield last year, 47. I would imagine his hamstrings probably now look like dried meatballs that were just run over by a bus. Who else? Andy Cook, Chris Marsden, Richard Ufflong, and most recently, Jordan Much, who played 8 games for Gyeongnam and now represents Crawley Town. You know, the League 2 club who gave a debut to some Towie star and trials to the actual side men. Give it 18 months and they'll probably have Ollie Murs on the wing. These are the footsteps Lingard is following in. For most English footballers, the prospect of moving to the South Korean League is probably about as realistic an option as them crawling back inside their mother's womb and asking to be born again. Boy, would that make for an awkward Sunday dinner. Specifically, if you look at the history of FC Seoul for foreign players, there's not much to choose from. I guess Brazilian striker Graffiti, who was a one-season wonder as Edin Dzeko's strike partner for Wolfsburg, where he hilariously netted 35 goals in 31 games, including a saucy viral backheel as they won the league, before then reverting back to being that wet pancake of a centre forward. Would not be shocked to find out that back in 2009, he was lacing his powers with the testosterone of a cow. But yes, he played for Seoul back in 2003, when they were called Anyang LG Cheetahs. Yes, I was shocked too. If you told me Graffiti had been at FC Seoul, I would have assumed that you'd meant that there was just crude cartoon knobs scribbled on the stadium toilet walls. He's joining a league where there was a match-fixing scandal as recently as 2011, where 57 footballers were charged and 55 were punished. Nearly 60 players fixing matches. The Supreme Prosecution Office concluded that 19 matches in the 2010 season and 2 matches in the 2011 season were fixed. FC Seoul had 3 matches fixed by the opposing players, with Gwangju Sangmu and Gyeongnam FC Lucy de Seoul on purpose. Apparently one player was paid 120 million to throw a match, which he shared with the rest of his teammates. By the way, 120 million won, which is really just £67,000, which is roughly a Mason Holgate weekly wage. £67,000 to cheat. Oh yeah, what other notable foreign players have been through this club's doors? Brazil player Adriano was there? No, not that one. Or that one. No, just some uncapped striker who spent nearly 10 years in Asia through Dalian Shai, Daejeon Citizen, FC Seoul, Shijiazhuang Everbright, and Jeonbuk Hyundai Motors. But again, I would imagine about 3 people in Europe even know who he is. The bloke's nickname is Adriano Michael Jackson. I sure hope he got that nickname because he's good at karaoke, and not just because he invites trick-or-treaters to find the sweets in the back of his attic. They've had nobody famous on their books. I mean, they had a Brazilian striker called Ronaldo once, who once said, "I am like Ronaldo, but with an E." Judging by his sad career page on Wikipedia, I'd imagine he was more like Ronaldo, without feet. Just some stubby vegetable rotting by the corner flag. Thinking of a mixture of muesli and poo, this is a club who was briefly put on the map when their homegrown striker Park Chu-young left Asia to crack Europe, signing for Monaco, where, to be fair, he scored 26 goals in 103 games, but was ultimately relegated. He then joined Arsenal and played in the Premier League once. A £40,000 a week contract for someone who's clearly there to flog shirts overseas. He was someone who was named Asia's Young Player of the Year in 2004. He was a Korean celebrity, and yet Arsene Wenger trusted him the same way he would trust a hungry wolf not to eat his mum. Honestly, same name, yes, but this bloke did not have the Premier League legacy of Jisung Park. Not even close. Honestly, I haven't had such bad memories of a park since my uncle brought me to the swings. Lingard is joining a football club which has changed its name more than Kanye West. Lingard is someone who's played over 200 games for Manchester United, one of the most famous and well-respected sporting institutions in the world. He's also played for big, respected English clubs with a proud, rich history. Clubs who've achieved big things in the past, such as Leicester City, Derby County, West Ham, and Nottingham Forest. But here he is now, joining a club who were invented in 1983 and were called Lucky Gold Star Football Club. Lucky Gold Star doesn't sound like a football team. It sounds like something you might win in the box of Cocoa Pops. It sounds like a Kinder Egg toy that your nephew might choke on over lunch. I mean, remember that 2002 World Cup? Yeah, because of the mass construction of new soccer grounds, FC Seoul were briefly evicted from Seoul, and they had to move 21 kilometers down the road to Anyang and had to change the name to the Cheetahs. But then they moved back to Seoul in 2004. Does Lingard know this history? Did he bother to sit through a PowerPoint presentation? Or did he just see the fat numbers on his contract and agree to join whilst yawning in the chairman's face? Does anyone speak English in Lingard's new squad? He's living nearly 6,000 miles away from home, in a squad featuring Koreans, one Serbian midfielder, one German forward, and one Brazilian forward. I hope for his own sake that Stanislav Ijuchenko is fluent in English. Otherwise, he's going to have to communicate in sign language. He'll just be doing this over and over again. I suppose they have one recognizable face, 35-year-old midfielder Ki Sung-young, who did spend a combined 10 years at Celtic, Swansea, Sunderland, and Newcastle, so surely he's got a good grasp of English. But is that it? Just one friend in the squad, and to be honest, he does strike me as a boring, straight-laced professional who hasn't cracked a smile since 2015, so I don't expect him and Lingard to be having Snapchat picnics on the beach. What is the point of this transfer? South Korea, actual South Korea. This man who, when he is focused and in the right team, the right environment, he still has so much to offer to the Premier League. I think he would suit a Luton Town. Look how fantastic Ross Barkley has been. I mean, that is a man who could have wound up being a baked potato, slumming it in Turkey this year, but no. He's shown great hunger and determination to rescue his reputation in the Premier League. Lingard should be doing that, but no, he's just entered a period of his life where he's just given up, and so has just chosen to join a club where he's going to get the most attention from the fans. I mean, Seoul is a city that's home to nearly 10 million people. He'll be a celebrity. He'll be on TV every day. They'll worship him, treat him like Ronaldinho. He is an absolute star, the most high-profile player in the history of their club. But is that all this is? Just agreeing to have his ego stroked by people treating him as if he's Messi himself? It's such a false Black Mirror-esque reality he's living in. It's not the real world. He's going to be treated as a king, and to me, the best version of Lingard is when he has a point of proof, when he's hungry. He was so desperate to make England's Euro 2020 squad. That's why he was so good at West Ham. But here, what's the objective? What's he going to achieve? He won't even know what competitions this club are even in. And to me, he's just going to rot away being an absolute waste. And to me, that's sad. Anyway, that's the end of the video. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. What do you think? Alright, let me know what you think. Let me know. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to go like, subscribe. As always, I'll talk to you in a while.